Hey, you want some medicinal herbs? I got 'em all here. I got your peyote, your ayahuasca, your psilocybin mushrooms, whatever you want. I'm a New Yorker here. You want your soul retrieval? I'll get you some inner dream awakening journey vision quest. I got the best on 44th and 3rd. That's right. Oh, by the way, coming up on this episode of Open Loops, we got a New Yorker here. Well, she's Slovenian originally, but she's also the Shaman woman NYC. She's gonna talk about lucid dreaming and all sorts of other jazz. Get ready, and hey, you want some of this stuff? It's good stuff. Keep listening.
I consider it an affront to my family that you haven't heard about Anchor. It's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. Okay, let me just lay this out for you. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And get this, okay? Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money, moolah, from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Open loops. Open loops. Open loops. Open loops. Open loops. You must listen to the open loops, a theme park for absurd beliefs and systems of integration between the mind and the creative spirit. Open loops.
Welcome to Open Loops, conversations that bend. It's a theme park for the intellect and imagination. If you're fringe curious, if you're downright weird, if you've got a beard and you like dressing up in multicolored suits, this is a show for you. It is a fantastic fun time. It's many fun rides. And if you want to go on a funhouse / roller coaster / interdimensional journey, then guess what? This is the episode for you. I have Tjasa Ferme. She is a actress, theater maker, shaman, and all-around healer, lucid dreamer, astral projector. I mean, she's a real deal. She's a real deal. She says well, you're going to hear why she rightfully has earned the title of Shaman Woman NYC in this episode. And this episode was originally aired live on Facebook, which is why there are references to this starry lights contraption that I bought at the beginning of quarantine as soon as I got some of that pandemic money. It was cheap. It was like, 3 days worth of work. But no, it's a really cool device that lets you project starry images. And I was like, whoa, I'm gonna like go on live on Facebook, put the camera on, and even put the put the lights on too. And I don't know how weird that was for the people watching, but it certainly made me feel like I was in a lucid dream. If you like the Open Loops podcast, please, on Apple Podcasts, subscribe, like it, if you do like it, and then rate and leave a review. I'd appreciate it. Tjasa Ferme was very fun. I really liked having her on. And wow, let's see if you can keep up with the ride that this is, because I know for sure I got high as I was listening and recording. But like high on life, like they teach in Dare in school. High on life. It was a great time. Enjoy.
Folks, technical difficulties. technical difficulties.
Oh my God, I think this comes with the territory.
Yeah, do you ever have that where like, I know, oh, here we go.
Oh yeah, I pray to vending machines, or I pray to, whenever I buy my metro ticket. It actually works. You have to pray to your computer devices.
You pray to your computer device?
Yes, it works. You should pray to everything. All the technology, it's been proven in some crazy experiments that it really does not work if you think you're gonna have problems. And if you're just like really present and giving it good vibes, then it pulls it through. I watched a documentary on YouTube and I read several articles on this. It's a real thing, and I practice it because I don't want to be judgmental. I just do what works.
I'm loving this already. This is, folks, you didn't even think this was gonna like go where it went, and now we're talking about praying to your laptop. I mean, what does this have to do with lucid dreaming? We'll find out. Welcome to Open Loops. We have Tjasa Ferme here. She is the shaman woman of New York City. Sounds very interesting, everything you're up to. I'm excited because you've got this lucid dreaming retreat coming up. You've got this introduction to lucid dreaming. And I'm excited to talk to you because you're also doing like, you're part of, you've created, I'm guessing this is your baby, Transforma Theater Incorporated, which so my listeners can know about, so you can all hear. I mean, this is just like, if this doesn't sound like Open Loops, Transforma Theater explores where science, consciousness, and ritual converge. All right. And then here's what I love about this, Tjasa. Do you live in the gut of YouTube and TED? The gut, and then are you a junkie of cognitive orgasms? If there's anything I want Open Loops to be about, it's for people that are cognitive orgasm junkies. It's true. I'm one for sure. This is amazing. I'm so happy you're here. Thank you for coming on the show.
Oh my Greg, I'm already in love. Thank you. You've prepared amazingly. Yes, you have nailed everything that my life is about. Encapsulated it.
Really? When did cognitive, like mind-blowing as pleasure, like when did that start for you? Because I can tell you it started for me pretty early, and I've really dedicated my life to pursuing, like having my mind blown. Like people ask, what do you wake up for every day? And it's like, I want someone to blow my brain open and like take me on a journey. When did that start?
I think that's a really good question, and I have no idea. I'm actually going to have to dig with you on the spot. But what I can say is that maybe Jason Silva was somebody who really kind of brought it to my conscious attention. The futurist in Jason Silva and his espresso shots of existential kink, or whatever he calls it, that just really kind of like gave me the edge that was boiling inside of me. I was like a really sensitive and incredibly imaginative kid and teenager growing up. And my mother still says that I have very active imagination. That's why I was talking about praying to the computer. But I just want to be in tuned with everything, and everything vibrates, everything's conscious. And you can really, tap into the universe from any given point. Like they say, all the ways lead to Rome. I say wherever on earth you start digging through that spot, you can come to the center. So it doesn't matter where you enter. Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you enter. Now, wait a minute. That's, whoa, already my head is just like...
Don't apply it to everything in 3D. I haven't totally descended my, alien species is just like too loud.
Wait a minute. I feel like you were speaking in 7 dimensions right now, and I need to get to like 2 dimensions here with you. Wait a minute. This is like fascinating. So you are a sensitive child, overly imaginative. I mean, tell me about this, performing arts. Like, did you want to be an actress from a young age?
Okay, so yes. So my dad was a rock and roll star when I was growing up, and he would put me on stage And I would be like a 3-year-old kid running around with a tambourine. So that got me addicted to stage, but I didn't really know it. Then I was like, I was really also a perfectionist, and I'm just like, I'm a weird person. So they literally dragged me on stage when I was 8, when I experienced that, and my mother said, oh, you know, what did that feel like? And I come from a totally secular family. You know, my parents are rock and roll hippie nudists, no religion there. And yes, we can talk about this later, but just to finish the sentence, and I looked at my mom and I said, I was on God's frequency. And my mom was just like, what are you, that's great, honey, but like, what is she talking about? But that's what stage made me feel. And I actually think that there are a lot of parallels between, let's say, acting, between all the spiritual activities, especially sort of like guided, controlled, intention, you know, pointing spiritual activities, and let's say Carlos Castaneda, you know, Nagual spirit.
Oh, of course. I was going to ask about that, because you are from Mexico originally, right?
No, I'm Slovenian, but
really? Oh, okay. Yes, where do I see Mexico? Where did Mexico?
Yeah, I've done a lot of shenanigans in Mexico. I mean, I think that Mexico is like sort of like my forming crib of my shamanic and spiritual experiences. That's where I crack open.
Oh my gosh. This is very interesting. So you have parents that were nudists. Now, wait a minute. Really? What does that mean? What does that look like on a daily basis?
Not every day, you know, even though, I mean, yeah, sometimes, you know, in passing, you know, from the bathroom to the bedroom or whatever. But like when I go to the sea, we're nudists. We're like nearly extinct. We're like dinosaurs.
Wait, so are you telling me you lived in the community where people were not wearing clothing like constantly, or was it just your parents? And that's something I'm telling you.
Just my family.
That's what I'm wondering.
And when we go to Croatia or Slovenia or wherever we vacation, we always go to nudist beaches. And now it's funny because now there's like floods of tourists trying to take over those beaches. And sometimes they come with their, you know, teenage sons. And then I'm this rebel naked, you know, like in a position looking at them. Oh yeah, you dare to bring your son here? All right, let's see how this goes.
Oh my gosh. This is
protecting the nudist territory. Yeah.
Yes. And if you've wondered, ladies and gentlemen, of what type of stuff you can lucid dream about, so look, this is I mean, Tjasa, this is like you're leading a really dynamic life already. You've come from like a rock and roll father. Do you think like having a nudist parents and being in the rock and roll scene and kind of like delving into this kind of hippy dippy stuff set you up on the path? Like, was it inevitable that you were going to become this shaman woman leading retreats and walking people through like medicinal vision quests? Like, was it?
I mean, that's what it sounds like. Yeah, that's really what it sounds like. If you tell my story the way you just did.
Yeah.
But me coming from my family, I'm really like, not that I'm a black sheep. Everybody loves me and it's all lovey-dovey and whatnot, but I am kind of different. They are still pretty rational people, even though I do have to say that, you know, when I showed up one day and I was like, I'm a shaman woman, everybody was like, of course you are. I was like, wait, this is not weird to you? This is like, you're not surprised? You're not going to reprimand me or whatever? You're not going to criticize me? No, everybody was on board, like as if they knew this all along. And, again, I do have to say that there's like not so much of a step between acting and basically embodying different people in different dimensions and feeling energies and intentions on stage and lucid dreaming or other spiritual activities. It's right there.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure obviously you must have read The Way of the Shaman or The Way of the Actor, right? What is that what it's called? The Way of the Actor. The Way of the Shaman is the book about shaman life. Michael Harner, right?
Yes. I did. Audiobook though. Yes.
Yes. But then The Way of the Actor I read this in college. It was a very well done comparison between what happens in shamanic practices and what actors go through in or even taught in proper training. I thought it was just I never thought about it that way before, but I definitely think, if you were an actor, like, should you go on an ayahuasca retreat?
So, this can be answered in many
I know it's kind of a hard question, but
endless,
I'm curious.
Right? I think that what's similar is that you are doing very similar things as a shaman as you do as an actor, but now you're fully realizing why you're doing it. There's an intent, and there's an intent of healing or some kind of transformation.
Yeah.
Whereas as actor, you're like walking down a very similar path, but you're using this in a world of your character and of your story. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Do you think, should a shaman be the best actor ever?
Yes, in a way. Absolutely. I mean, if you really read Carlos Castaneda, I'm just rereading Journey to Ixtlan. Yeah. I mean, Juan Matus, what is he doing? He's a trickster. He's always playing tricks and acting something up. He's a perfect actor in a way. He's always right there where he should be to execute on his vision.
Yeah. And I want to ask you something. It's kind of controversial, but I do want to ask.
Okay.
What is your take on the feedback about those books not being historically accurate?
I don't know.
Do you care? Maybe you don't care.
No, I mean, it's like when I read it, it resonates.
Yeah.
There's some wisdom. There's something that I can learn from it. It's really fascinating. I can't say that I can verify everything or reach it, but I have seen different glimpses, and I think that it's a very interesting sort of shamanic tradition. And I wouldn't say that they're made up. I mean, okay, maybe he channeled it. Maybe he was, really high and he channeled it partially, but I think that they are at least partially historically true. And also that, it doesn't matter. I think that the work speaks for itself. I think that the depth of the work communicates, and there's like knowledge to be transmitted through it. So that's what matters.
Yeah, that's interesting because, I know that, it's an interesting piece of work. A lot of people are like, oh, it's just fiction. Some people are like, oh no, it's, that stuff definitely happened, or it was drug induced, some of his memories of what was going on. But then people say there's no recollection actually of actual Don Juan, and maybe Don Juan is like a combination of various different people he encountered. I always wonder, but then I always think in general, like the whole point is that reality is fragile. So what even is truth, man? Like, I don't know. How fragile, like, do you slip between different realities constantly, you think?
Yes.
Give me a good example of that recently.
Okay. So we were at the Lucid Dream Retreat, and I was leading by the fire at night, and we heard coyote kind of nearby. I led the Lucid Dream induction. And I felt, I would say I didn't lucid dream, because there's a distinction when you sleep and you wake up in the dream, right? And you say, oh, I'm dreaming, that's a lucid dream. But you can come pretty close by sort of like relaxation, breathing, different techniques, and relaxation, and also sort of like intention. And you can come pretty close to those dimensions, but I would say that then it's more astral projection or astral travel. So it was really interesting because in a way I felt completely embodied. I know that a part of me is there in that recliner by the fire. I kind of heard the coyote nearby, but at the same time, I felt like my body kind of like parceled into 3 layers that then became like playing 3 different notes. And then I was in the space of, I was talking before basically about the Tibetan lineage and how Tibetan yogis were practicing lucid dreaming. They call it dream yoga. And
Right.
they say this is important for basically for when we pass, for when we die, because then we are in a maze and we're all of a sudden in this like unknown dimension with different rules, and we have to come to the ultimate light. Right? Don't settle for anything but the ultimate highest light, because otherwise, if you're gonna go to a murky light, you're gonna go to something that's familiar, right? You're gonna go to a familiar pattern that you've lived before. And when you choose a particular light, and let's say it's a murky one, that's your reincarnation. So they teach lucid dreaming and dream yoga so that you practice your own behavior and choice making in this realm before you die. I was just talking about that. So, after the 3 notes, doom, 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 I all of a sudden saw 2 lights. And one was kind of yellow and it seemed very bright. And the other one was like a huge kind of like wide beam of this kind of a light, multi-dimensional crystal blue light.
Yeah.
And I said, first I'm going to jump and see and explore the yellow one. And I went in there and, the more I was kind of like maneuvering it and feeling it out, I felt that it wasn't quite as pure. And I said, okay, thank you. It was nice knowing you. And then I went into the blue one and explored that. And I found certain sort of like patterns or certain like energetic resemblances from the people in my life or from my own life. And let's say types of connections or types of love. But I said, this isn't the ultimate. And then I came out and I saw sort of like an amber crack in the sky, amber light, but also kind of deep red. And I went in there. And I thought of Carlos Castaneda, how they said that basically the naguals or the sorcerers have an amber cocoon, amber egg. And I knew that, that was like a dimension in a dimension, like really, really deep. I would have to like travel far. And in that moment, I kind of like felt sort of like this relation between my physical self and the distance I would have to travel to go inside. And I chose not to go in that moment because that would require of me a lot of energy. Plus I was basically leading a group. I needed to be here if something happened to them. So I didn't want to go quite as deep. And then I said, but what is the highest light? And I figured that I needed to emanate it. I need to pull it from my own heart. It wasn't, out here in the space, on a platter in front of me.
Yeah.
I had to like shoot it out, and then I entered it and explored it.
Wow.
So that was like a recent sort of like going between the dimensions, within 5 minutes or less.
What is that even? That is so abstract to me. And I'm sitting here like scoring your story with my strange light setup here. Because you said amber. I'm like, let me turn it to red. Okay. Like, Tjasa, I'm so curious when you're talking about going to these different directions. Are your eyes open? Are you just like, is it like a void of color? Like, for people that do not see in multiple dimensions, what are you seeing? What are you feeling? What are you experiencing? Like, can you come down to earth in your explanation so that me, who's never explained this, can even get a semblance of what you mean? Because I'm really kind of, I want to experience this, and I don't even know what it almost sounds like you're dying, and it's scary.
Wow.
But, yeah.
Wow. Okay, let me try to explain. And there's different ways. So let's say this case in particular, it was eyes closed. There was like a little bit of a hypnotic induction and staring at the fire beforehand. But once you close your eyes and you feel some kind of, there's usually some kind of a bodily sensation. Sometimes I feel like there is, energy circling around me, and there's almost like this like helicopter feeling of my own sort of like vortex above me. And then it literally goes like, bah, and it shoots me out. This is like really, really, really when I astral travel or when I lucid dream. And that is absolutely terrifying. It can be, because you defy everything that you know. everything.
Wow.
Boundary. And then oftentimes in journeys like that, you will enter sort of like this interdimension, like a little, cocoon between different layers of total darkness.
Yeah.
And before either the universe calibrates where to send you, let's say that you gave a command, take me, show me, and it's sort of like open-ended and you just want to see what are the messages there for you. This can like last a while. And this is like, for me, this is the scariest part, but you have to be persistent, and you have to kind of like believe in the light and that something good will be shown to you.
You keep talking about this light. Like, what's coming at the light? What is the light? Did you see the movie The Lighthouse? Was that amazing or not? Wasn't Robert Pattinson great? No, look, I mean, what is the light? What exactly is this light that you speak of? Because when people say see the light, they think of death, though I also know the spiritual counterintuitive thing is like, nah, man, once you accept death, you get access to all the realms you didn't even think were possible. You become one with the universe. Da 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 da. Like, can you? What is? Yeah. Should we be looking for this light? Is it the same light that people talk about when you die?
No, I mean, yes and no. Light is a force in the universe. Light is. I imagine that we exist in a dimension, or the universe exists in a dimension where you have two factories. You have the factory of light and you have a factory of darkness. And now there's like a bunch of cables in between and they're talking. And all that happens in our dimension, in our universe, is the conversation between the two factories. It's almost like a plus and a minus that creates electricity. It's this conversation. So light is one of the primal forces that has made you, that is guiding you. It's one of the polarities of where you want to align yourself to and with, because that's how you will propel, your own personal evolution and create good for other people. And then obviously you have the other option, but that's what the light is. And you can experience light in many different ways. Yes, it's palpable, or you can see it, you can feel it. You can hear it too.
Wow.
You can hear it too. Yeah. So that is the light.
I was going to say, you can hear it. I was wondering, like, why not like go towards the warmth? Why not go towards like the pretty, like the bells, but the light is such a visual. And I imagine, for each person, it probably does manifest in an individual way. And, like blah, blah, blah. You can't control it. Everybody experiences it themselves. Da, 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 da. Look, why can't I see the light? Help me see the light right now. Where am I going to see the light?
I would love to. I would love to. I think it's so easy.
Why don't you easy?
Why don't you try? Why don't you? Okay. So how about we do this? You come to either a lucid dream event or you come to a shaman event. You need this much of not even hypnosis, but this much of gamma or even alpha waves to get you into in a state of relaxation. And then you can start these journeys with auto-suggestion. You can start it with something that, just sounds like, I'm making it up. Yeah, start there. It's totally legit. It's totally legit.
Well, that's definitely true. When I have hypnotized people before for, hypnotherapy and whatnot, like one of the things they tell you is pretend and then pretend you're not pretending.
That's right.
Which is like... It just as much. Yes, it's just like acting. It's like if you pretend that your hand is stuck to the table, then you pretend that you're not pretending, you're much more likely to experience a hypnosis, kind of a hypnotic phenomenon, than if you're just like, oh, I'm play acting, because there is a difference between people that are actually like doing an acting exercise and people that are actually seeing the light. What do you think that difference is for people? Like, do some people get there more easily than others? Like, what makes someone more prone to having a shamanic vision quest kind of experience? And do you need drugs? Because I'm kind of convinced you do. like what is up with the plants? But yeah, like answer the first question. Yeah, what is sort of like what makes people prone, be more open to like actually seeing things that aren't in, I put this in quotes, waking reality?
So first of all, it works like magic almost on everybody. All that you need, and this is if you read Michael Harner, it's like bump, 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 bump. It's constant beat. It's something that all the tribes all over the world have in common. This is what puts you in a gamma state, which is very close to your dreaming state, which is also in a state of hypnosis. And then when you know what's expected in your journey, it's surprisingly easy to do it. And like I said, you can start from a place of autosuggestion, you can start from a place of imagination, and then at some point it seems like the dream or the journey starts driving itself. And then you no longer feel like you're fabricating it, but it opens up. It all of a sudden, it's like you're dancing. He or she is your dance partner, and at some point, it or she or he, or whatever you want to call it, starts leading. So anybody can get to this state. I have seen very few people that got stuck or that this didn't work. Maybe like 2 people out of 500, 600, something like that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, and you need absolutely no drugs. But you know what? I do think that medicine plants are fantastic. They're fantastic for insight. And
sell me on the green, Tjasa. Sell me on that green right now. I knew the pitch was coming.
I mean, who doesn't love the green? The green's great, but there's like so many other things too. And it really depends on what you need. If you need to connect with your body and sort of like really figure out, and it's really interesting because like as below, so above, as above, so below. So whatever your body tells you is correct for your own organism is in most cases true for the entire universe. Yesterday, a mushroom told me how an orgasm is the same as a goal, and how to reach an orgasm, you kind of have to make love with yourself or with your partner, right? And the same goes if you want to reach a goal in the universe. You just have to make love to the universe to reach that goal. It's like,
what is it? I didn't realize this was going to come up on Facebook. And for all the listeners listening to this after, how would you practically make love to the universe in a family-friendly way? How would you describe that? How would you make love to the universe?
I mean, this is a parable, of course, but what it means is that you add love and attention to whatever you do, and that you don't give up, you don't start pouting, you don't start demanding, because can I use the word orgasm again? Because coming if you're being demanding and like this has to happen. Well, same with the goal you're trying to reach. You have to keep adding and like finding new tactics and finding new ways and keep like loving it and cajoling it until you finally get what you want. But it's an act of love.
Yeah. How many orgasms has the universe given you?
Who would count? Wait, physical or unphysical? And even, both. Who would count? I'm a very lucky girl.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, folks, this is supposed to be about lucid dreaming, but you know what? We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that because look, I mean, all sorts of things are possible in waking life and dream life, and maybe there isn't a difference. Yes. Why did I put these fancy schmancy lights on today? Because the shaman woman herself, Tjasa Ferme, is doing a lucid dreaming retreat in New York City, Battery Park, right? Is that where you do it?
That's where I lead my shamanic circles and shamanic dreams, correct. The next intro to lucid dreaming and lucid dreaming induction is coming up on Zoom.
You're doing a Zoom thing, that's right.
Yes, that's right. So it's available to more people wherever you are. Your excuses don't matter. Come and lucid dream right now. Well, actually, this Thursday.
Yeah, this Thursday. You know what? We're gonna put up the link for everybody to you should definitely check that out. You know what? For my listeners, why don't we just really break it down? How would you define lucid dreaming?
So it's a moment when you become conscious that you're dreaming in the dream, which means that there's a moment where you no longer identify with the dream. And it's, interesting because I meet a lot of people who say, lucid dreaming, that's easy. I was born doing that. And that's fantastic. And I'm so happy that that is so for them. It has not been necessarily so for me or many others. But what's instrumental is, how do you use it?
Oh, yeah.
What
Let's
do you
go
do
into
with
that.
it?
Yeah.
Let's go into that because, a few things that you can do in lucid dreaming is you can play with the components of time, space, quality, and then you can really get under the hood, under the skin of the mysteries of universe and your own existence. So basically, you're limitless and you can ask any question and you can travel anywhere given you have the intent and energy. Energy is really important. But basically, this is the place where it's not about, oh, ha, 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 I'm having so much fun in my lucid dream. I totally know I'm lucid dreaming. Great. So what? Like, what do you use this for? So, were you adopted? Do you maybe want to know who your real parents are? Do you want to know why you're here or what's your mission in life? Do you want to go and visit your soul family and see who in your, 3D life is currently incarnated from your soul family? Or you want to see why the universe exists, or if it's like a simulated reality? You know what I mean? The big questions. You can ask the big questions. That's what lucid dreaming is for.
Wow. That's a great answer. That was an answer that was pretty close to 2 dimensions. So that's good. It didn't go you didn't jump too much of that, which I appreciate.
Is that my criteria today? I have to scale down to 2 dimensions.
No, because I'm like kind of following you, but I'm like, I don't know who else is. Also, I'm not even sure I am at times, but I'm okay with that. This show is like, it's a theme park for your brain. That's what the open loops thing is. That's what
cognitive orgasms. There we go.
We just want to have the rise and okay. Well, look, the point is this. Yes, there have been a lot of cognitive orgasms so far, I think. But I will tell you this. I am curious what the line is. Like, how deep do you go in terms of an introduction to lucid dreaming? Because, everything I know the rudimentary stuff, like the dream journal, the doing the checks, like occasionally through your waking life being like, oh, I am not in a dream right now. I am in those little, they're sort of like checking to make sure that you're in waking reality so that once you do see something off in the dream, then you notice it. I mean, first of all, is it as complicated as that? And second of all, how much deeper do you go in terms of getting people to ask the questions of the mysteries of the universe?
Yeah, no, that's a totally legit question. And you won't be asking, mysteries about the mysteries of universe for a while. It takes training. It's cognitive training, like meditation is cognitive training. It's about figuring out your own triggers, your own patterns, undoing the patterns, and then slowly sort of progressing into. So, in lucid dreaming, you can train certain things. That's one thing. And, certain people, I think there's like a whole trend how they train like Aikido in lucid dreaming and special kicks. Or, let's say that you're a mediator, a negotiator, or like a salesperson, and you want to sort of figure out what do you fuck up in your pitch? You want to hear a replay of yourself. You can do things like that. And that's like very practical. Or you can travel. And in the intro about lucid dreaming, this is what I'm going to be talking about, what all you can do. Then I'm going to be talking about a few exercises that you can do in your waking life to sort of like ingrain this habit of checking in on yourself. Am I dreaming? Am I awake? Looking at your hands or looking for incongruities in life. That's some of them. And then basically I'm going to induce a lucid dream, and what we're most likely going to get to is like a very relaxed state where people start seeing different visuals. And what I'm going to be leading you towards is sort of like, how do you deal with those visuals? How do you pay attention? You know, how do you drive it? That's sort of like the intro step. And then it takes practice. Then it takes practice and a lucid dream coach.
Yeah, wait a minute. How long does it take to like become a master, you think? Like, is this like a 6-month dedication thing? Is this like a 2 years? Like, what are some stories you've had of people who've learned to do this?
I think we all live in a 3D world where we have to deal with other things, not just lucid dreaming. We have jobs, or we just have like bills. We have to file taxes, whatever. Yeah. There's stuff. And if you really want to dedicate to lucid dreaming, I mean, like everything else, it's elusive, right? The more you try to capture it, the more it runs away. So it's a matter of balance. And I had my first real breakthrough and like a crazy mystical experience, like 3 months after I did the course, which wow. I would consider, like super early. I was like super lucky, and I haven't had like such a powerful experience since.
Do you lucid dream every night? Could you?
No. It takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of focus.
Who can? Have you met anybody that could?
I don't think so. Maybe people who say, I know I'm dreaming, but like I'm having so much fun, so I keep dreaming whatever comes. That still means that you're in some way identified with the story, and you're not really using the lucid dreaming what it's for. And like you couldn't really, well, maybe some people who were, raised into this starting at 8, 7, 8, and people who like live in the jungle or really grew up with this, maybe they can lucid dream every night. But like, I know for me and for most people that live in this like urban world, there's too much distraction. There's in general energy depletion, and it'd be hard to lucid dream every night.
I really wanted to ask you about the urban world aspect of what you do, because while this retreat Thursday night is going to be, or this introduction class Thursday night is going to be on Zoom, you're doing like retreats in the city, in shamanic circles in New York City. And my question for you is this. I've read a lot of articles in the past couple of years about people bringing back ayahuasca to New York City and doing drugs or medicinal herbs, doing medicinal vision quests in like Brooklyn apartments. And I'm wondering, how in the world are you even approaching the experiences that you're going to get when you're actually like with a shaman in Peru, in New York?
That's a fantastic question. To be perfectly honest, I don't do any medicine in New York City. I was entrusted medicine of a very special Mayan lineage, but I don't do it in New York. I do it only in special places, let's say. And the connection with the spirits of nature and of the elements are crucial when you do work like this. It really has to be sort of like, you have to be in a pure spot with pure intentions, knowing what you want and where you're going. And I wouldn't recommend that you do this anywhere, because you're entering, we live in a really dense city, especially New York City or Brooklyn. Yeah. All these apartments have histories. This is all crawling. This is alive on the astral planes. And you can be encountering so many entities that are not recommended at this level to play with. What I do in New York City is shamanic circles, healing sessions, without the medicine, because I think that what people in the city need is sovereignty. They need to be able to hear their own thoughts, to connect with their own selves, to connect with the ground themselves. And this is something that we can do.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really wondering, like, how, like, what is, when you're doing a shamanic healing session, like, are you in, like, on one of these wellness centers? Are you bringing people to the park and, like,
Yeah,
uh, you're bringing people to the park?
I'm bringing people to the park. Yeah.
What kind of healings have you done in the park? I need to know right now.
Like all kinds: drum, rattle, soul retrievals, spirit releases, entities.
You've done a soul retrieval in a New York City park?
Oh goodness, yes. I mean, this happens
What?
spontaneously sometimes. Crystal stuff. And it's beautiful. Actually, the whole universe conspires to it. It's amazing. I'm surprised myself. Yeah. I thought I was going to be really tired. Sometimes I do 8 privates or like cleaning 20-minute sessions of participants before we even start a circle. And I love doing it so much. It doesn't make me tired. It's a total miracle. I'm very blessed to be.
How do you make that happen in New York City? Like, you're talking New York City, it's difficult with the density and like the history of the buildings. I mean, why do you think the spirits are is it because of your Mayan lineage or or your connections? Like, why do you think the spirits are letting this woman, shaman woman of New York City, Tjasa Ferme right here, why are they letting you get away with miracles in New York City parks?
Okay, I'll tell you. It's very simple. Because I ask them permission. I ask kindly. I ask for their cooperation and their blessings. And they know what my intentions are. The intention should always be for the highest good. The intention should always be for the lightness of the person that I'm working with. For the light, evolution, all the beautiful stuff. And the spirits support that.
What time of night are you doing this? Are we talking like 6 p.m., like rush hour? Like, when are you?
I mean, it's not like I'm doing it on, like a Penn Station. I'm doing it in
That's what I want to see, and I think you should rebrand yourself and your entire experience.
Oh my God. So that I would be doing it like on the subway, maybe even to homeless people. Oh goodness.
Tjasa, we have dreams for you. We have aspirations. I'm lucid dreaming this tonight.
I need the city grant. I need a grant from New York City subway system, and I'll go and I'll help all the poor souls of homeless people suffering down there.
Do you think you could? Do you think you could make the homeless people all healed?
Honestly, no.
Really, that's good. I'm glad you're not that.
It would tear me apart. It would tear me
You're
apart.
out there, but you're not that out there, which I appreciate.
It would haunt the fuck out of me. There's like so much of hungry ghosts out there. And, like, I'm also just a human, feeling the natural feelings, having fears and sometimes boundaries. Even though I'm a daughter of hippie parents.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, let's go to the extremes of shamanism for a second. In Don Juan's, in the Carlos Castaneda books, there is talk about turning into a butterfly. There's talk of just like suddenly, being in Mexico and all of a sudden like having a full-scale vision quest without seemingly any formal hypnotic induction or drugs, at least explicitly talked about. Like, it's almost as if Carlos Castaneda describes like being dropped into another world. Have you ever experienced that? Have you ever turned into another animal, or have you actually like all of a sudden from a shaman been dropped into another existence without any drugs or formal hypnotic induction?
So, yes and yes, both conditionally. The second one, less conditionally. There's very simple methods. You know how as kids we just kind of like lay down on the grass and stared at leaves or stared at clouds? That's hypnotic. And somehow after some time, when you're really just like looking at that, your assemblage point shifts, your perception shifts in very simple terms, and you are dropped in another reality quite suddenly. And that shift is subtle but powerful and visible, and anybody can do it. Just persist, stare. That's a really, 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 really good method to get into things. The things will suck you in, and let them suck you in. So that's for the second. For the first one,
I don't even remember the first question. I just got sucked into something. Yeah.
The first question was if I ever became an animal. So
yes,
I you know what? So if my friend was next to me, and if you asked her, did Tjasa disappear and did she become a crow? She will say no. But if you ask Tjasa, did you ever feel like you really became an animal? And I'm going to say yes. I had 2 instances. And, if the second one hadn't happened recently, I would have completely forgotten about the first one in the first place. But I was a woman jaguar. When I get really, 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 really angry, it's like, I remember when I first moved to New York City, somebody pissed me off. And I run every day. That's my daily practice. So I remember like sprinting in Park Slope and really feeling my claws and feeling my teeth. And recently, sort of like, I was awakened in the middle of the night, super kind of like, and I felt that. I felt that energy. So, conditionally, to some degree, yes, I was engulfed by a spirit animal of jaguar. But did I look like a jaguar? No. Is it not possible that somebody else might transform themselves in an animal? And I can observe that with my vision, with my 3D vision. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
I was going to say, have you ever experienced a shapeshifter?
No. Not in this reality. I don't know if it's possible in this reality. I would like to believe so.
Yeah. What did the drugs do?
Oh, yes. What did the drugs do? Whack you out completely, or I'm speaking for myself. They're very
What were you like before the drugs? And then what happened after? And I mean, like, I'm talking peyote, I'm talking ayahuasca. Like, I don't care about your, Brooklyn weed Sunday afternoons. I'm talking about what happened before and after. Like, where were you then, and what came out?
So I think that plant medicine is fantastic when it feels like you have come to a wall and you can't see past it, and it seems like you're doing everything right in this world, in this reality, in your life, and yet you somehow feel that you're blocked, or you're not seeing everything, or things are not unfolding as you want to. And I think that that's always a good point to consider a plant teacher medicine. And that's what I did in 2018. And what it did to me was, first of all, it whacked me out of my own body. And I was in the spiritual dimension where it felt like I'm literally, sorry, I'm going to use that unfamily friendly word again. I was in the folds of Big Bang. It sort of felt like I was in the orgasm of the universe.
Orgasm of the universe. Interesting.
That's right. And then I feel like I exercised many of my demons, as if like, like the little parts of my body opened up, and, like the grid A1 opened and G5, and, like all these little demons came out and exercised themselves. And when I came back, I was just like pure and able to connect with the ground again, and, able to connect with the beauty and the subtle, with the light and the love.
Yeah.
And I feel like the big difference between before and after was that I feel like I was exhausted and I was stressed out trying to live a life on a hamster wheel. And basically me doing the medicine was deciding to get off the hamster wheel. And then, like now trying to basically like becoming a shaman woman, that's one of the things I started doing after that. And sort of like connecting, the grid of multiple dimensions and bringing this to people. Because
I was going to say, like, where did you go from pursuing acting and just trying to be a performer to like doing this? Because you've kind of melded both worlds with your theater company where you're doing this almost, I mean, it reminds me of what Antonin Artaud was trying to do. Like ritualistic theater, like really like the theater of the unconscious in a way, which I love. I love that stuff. But I'm wondering, like, was there a point where you were more ego driven, like, I'm going to be an actress? And then you were just like, whoa, there's so much more that art and theater can do because my brain's expanded? Or was it a different journey?
No, absolutely. Yeah, I think that definitely. I always felt multidimensional on stage, but and I was driven by this wanting to be possessed or like looking for ecstasy. But this sort of like, drive of, trying to make it and this like hamster wheel of auditions. And yes, absolutely this like ego driven sort of like system we live in that was really getting to me. And I think that the plant medicine sort of like revealed this like plane underneath that really drives me. Because before I was able to describe it, I was like, oh, I'm chasing ecstasy. I'm like, I want to live in this multiple dimensions. That's why I want to be on stage. But it sort of like revealed more to me after the medicine and after the ritual, how important it is to sort of like always be aware of the sort of like ritual in life or transformational point in life, or that like life is a ceremony and that ultimately you want to get more people on board and lift up the level.
Yeah. What do your theater productions look like? Do they
so our big theater production that we did was called the Female Role Model Project. And so I wanted to kind of like explore consciousness. And as a channeler, as an actor channeler, I always felt like I'm very different when I'm different people. Like when I'm different when I'm Lady Macbeth or when I'm Catherine from Taming of the Shrew. It's sort of like my perception is different. My thoughts are different. I have access to different information. So I kind of wanted to measure consciousness. And I was interested in how these different women influence us. So I paired up with Gretzener CUNY and Brooklyn College with their cognitive neuroscience team. And I got a couple of sponsors on board of EEG devices. So I got Emotive and BrainBit. And then we basically devised a whole performance around that, including a cognitive neuroscientist on stage interpreting our and audience members' activity, and like doing it in a really interactive format. So I'm interested. That's what I'm interested in. And sort of like in connecting the old ancient and, like innate of the body and of the science, because people seem to believe science a little bit more, but I think it's about the overlap.
Yeah, that's definitely why you're on this show, I'll tell you that. Oh my gosh, like that is like everything. That's so weird, and it definitely, like, I'm very fascinated by that idea of bringing the two worlds together, especially since like you've described to me things that are like totally, like, I know a lot of people listening will probably be like, okay, Greg, who is this person you brought on? Like, what is she talking about? Da, 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 da. But on the other hand, you're like, no, we actually got like neuroscientists involved with a project that I did, and I'm actually like exploring like EEG stuff. And I'm like, what? Where does this come from? But you're multidimensional. Do you think you surprise people sometimes, Tjasa? With like, do some people think you're one way and all of a sudden you just like lay science on them and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, ma'am.
Yeah,
that may have been just what happened to me. Maybe. Yeah, like what is that? Like, how do you consciously mess with people's perceptions?
You must. Sometimes I do. No, that's totally my signature move. That's my favorite move. I'm not going to be able to quote, but I can kind of paraphrase what Carlos Castaneda was saying in Journey to Ixtlan in the words of Juan Matos was, you have to forget about your personal history because your personal history defines you. The people, the way they see you, that defines you and it informs you back. It's sort of like, a feedback loop. And I hate that. I hate feeling that a person sees me in a particular way and I see that I start fitting the mold because I feel it from them. So I love sort of like, busting the mold. And yeah, that oftentimes comes through shocking or provocative actions or, like consciously flipping tables around. But I think that's good. It keeps everybody on our toes,
Oh, yeah. No, I provoking.
My friends are brave people.
My entire life is based on provocation for amusement. It is.
I figured.
Yeah.
I figured we have that in. Yep.
Which some people might say, maybe I'm downplaying my value in life, though I'm not sure I am. Self-doubt, constant. I'm very interested in Tjasa's world here. And if you want to experience more of the world of Tjasa, look, you've got these events. You've got the introduction to lucid dreaming coming up on Zoom this Thursday night. That's Thursday, October 8th. And you're also doing this retreat. What can people expect in the retreat?
People can expect hard work, like really fun and interesting, but hard work.
Are people going to cry on the retreat?
Wow. Yeah. I think it's perfectly possible. I think that people will bust, again, some of their own personal myths about themselves. I think that this is where the journey really begins. When you start looking at yourself from different eyes, and you're able to sort of like rewrite or redefine yourself.
What about a TV show called like Soul Mythbusters, where you just like, yeah. You see what I'm getting at?
Is that our next conversation?
Yeah, that's the collaboration. Somebody out there, pick up this pilot. Pick it up. My ego.
I love it.
Yeah, no, this is interesting. I mean, I really love, really love talking to you. Tell us, you know what? You're going to be lucid dreaming. How is that different than astral projection? Also for my listeners, because I do think they overlap sometimes, and you've mentioned both, but we've got lucid dreaming, which is being aware that you're dreaming. And then can you become an astral projector once you master lucid dreaming, or is it like totally different?
All right, so this is how it works. Astral travel and lucid dreaming is the exact same thing, except for that lucid dreaming occurs within the dream through the realization you're dreaming, and then you go. And the astral travel happens from an awakened state and with the intention to go out. Lucid astral projection is kind of I'm not going to say in between thing, but it's very similar to astral projection, to astral travel, but you don't actually physically go there. You kind of like shoot it out. It's a projection from your third eye. So you imagine that it's like a little submarine going out, and you're looking out and seeing all these different dimensions, but you're not actually physicalized in your astral body.
Do you actually see your body? You do the thing. I mean, I have a friend that does this regularly. He astral projects. Do you actually see yourself? Like, you actually look down on yourself? Is it that kind of thing?
You can, but like when you were asking me before, how do I perceive things? I perceive things as one big eye. Usually I am just my vision, and occasionally I can, if I want, I can see my hands, and then they do their own goofy thing. But
how does Zoom work for you? We're on Zoom right now for everybody listening. How did the Zoom mess up the third eye?
No, a lot of things work past these boxes. A lot of things, most of these things actually take place in quantum fields. And these boxes are basically just as much of a barrier as we make them. But yeah, it's much more comfortable for human beings to connect in person. There is something to be said about physical presence. That's what grounds us. That's what roots us. That's how we're used to connecting deeply with each other.
Yeah. Interesting. Wow. This is all, there's a lot circulating in my head. There's like a lot of, but that's good. That's what I love. Yeah. Wow. So you are the shaman woman. Now, look, I know there are other women in New York City, for sure. Statistically, that's true. But also, there are other shamans in New York City. Why are you the shaman woman of New York City? Like, are there others? Could others come up to you and be like, I want that title, give it to me? Like, what is your, like, you claimed it? You are the NYC shaman woman on Facebook, that is.
Mhm.
Why you? Is there somebody else out there that should have that title and you know it secretly? Or are you the shaman woman?
So I am the shaman woman because I have the vision and I have the sensory field.
This is like campaigning right now. I'm campaigning for you.
And I'm playing with your campaigning. I think that I really see, and people who have worked with me know that I work deeply and across multiple dimensions. And I'm hard to scare. And sometimes shamans want to like look at each other and scare each other off. And I'll be the last one to hold my ground.
Oh, okay. So look, we've got Soul Busters, but I have another show idea right
Personal power.
Let's get all the shamans of New York City in a park, and I want you all to just stare at each other and we'll see who stands there the longest. And you say it's going to be you.
And also, I want to say, I mean, I don't want to brag.
No, I know. This is, like, I'm egging this egoic talk on.
I have a really interesting combination of sort of like Slavic roots, which is, Slavic mythology. It's very polytheistic. And then, on top of that, you kind of like, I studied Carlos Castaneda since I was 13. Then I studied Hinduism and Tantra also since I was 13. Then I, added my sort of like Mexican ground root shamans with the Mayans, the plant medicines. Then I went to Guatemala and studied with sort of like quite a Kabbalic tradition kind of teachers. And then I have my Tibetan lineage. So it's like a lot of schools mixing. And I think that what's compelling in this work is finding the patterns and really seeing how things align and sort of like broadening perception so that you can fit all of these schools of thought in and then use it in a whatever works. Sense away, whatever works for you personally, and whatever works for me right here, right now, and whatever needs to happen, and feeling all these elements running through us, and really being present. And all of this is what do you need to make a personal change and to transform and to transcend.
Wow, I think something just worked for me. I think whatever that last speech was, like, you got my vote. I'm going to mail in ballot for you as the New York shaman. Make sure they get it. The other thing, okay, final question for you before we wrap up. By the way, I've loved this. You definitely have to come on again. We gotta go more into the stories.
So playful. I love it.
Yeah, no, this has been very fun. You've lucid dreamed and you've confronted the mysteries of the universe. Can you just tell my listeners right now, you're asking the questions about the mysteries of the universe. Can you give my listeners one answer? We all have all these questions about the mysteries. You must have asked for some answers. The meaning of life. Why are we here? Are there others out there? I need one answer from lucid dreaming about the mysteries to just clarify whatever the heck it is going on. Mm-hmm. One answer, please, Tjasa, please.
So all of us have been here since the beginning of this world.
Yeah.
And all of this is encoded in us. And if we want, we can access all of the information. Time is like a crest, like a wave in a crest folding into itself. And then we're always in the present moment, and this is enveloping us. And we can always access all of the information. Nietzsche was right when he said, whatever happened once happened forever, or resonates forever. Everything's imprinted.
Oh my
And we can
gosh. You sound like Matthew McConaughey now, and I love it. Yes. This is amazing. That was a good answer.
As an actor, does he have videos on this kind of stuff?
I just feel like when he talks, and whatever that movie was.
Wow.
Interstellar.
No. Oh yeah, I just watched that. Maybe.
Maybe you just did a monologue from Interstellar and we didn't even know it. No, that was fine.
I wouldn't even know it.
No, that was good. Are you in contact with Ashtar? Or Ishtar?
Ishtar. Aha, the goddess. Ishtar has many names.
What about up there in the aliens? The aliens up there. Ashtar, I think, is the one that talks to people. Do you talk with interdimensional beings?
Ishtar, I think, is the goddess, is the Sumerian goddess that was later on also called Isis. And
in Egypt.
Yes. I'm more connected with Hathor. And for that, I actually had to sleep in a meditation room, which became my bedroom for about 3 weeks, with a huge skull of a cow, a holy cow from Egypt, given as a gift by a shaman, very important shaman. But yes, I am in touch with both of them.
You're in touch. What's the deal? Are we going to get our UFOs coming to the Earth? Is that the Great Awakening?
They're here already. They're here all along. You just have to open up your eyes to see them.
Do you know aliens personally? Have you met people walking around in human form that you're like, this person's not from this galaxy?
Yes. Actually, I was thinking about it a lot last week. I went to Whole Foods and there was this one woman in front of me and I was like, there's something about, and then the next day I was listening to a podcast of Elizabeth April that talks a lot about sort of interdimensional aliens, crossbreeds, etc. And I was like, oh yeah, right. That's her.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Are you like a clairvoyant too? You got the psychic stuff going on?
Mm-hmm.
Really? Oh gosh.
Yeah, it's all interconnected. I mean, if I want to really work with you and heal you, I have to be able to see. That's what I meant before when I said that I see things. I see things in people. And that definitely comes from maybe it's encoded in me, your memory. I don't know. Is the universe really that mysterious and that tricky? Or I see patterns in people.
Oh gosh. The inevitable question. What are you seeing right now? What's the pattern? What do I got to sort out? What do I need your lucid dreaming introduction to sort out for myself? Let's hear it, Tjasa. I need it.
Darling. Yeah. You really have to sort of stop looping. Stop
looping? But that's what this show is.
No, it is. Oh my goodness. Right. No, but don't stop with your podcast. Okay. You're doing such a fantastic job, but don't try to explain everything rationally. Don't try to attack everything from sort of looking at it and thinking about it first. Approach things experientially.
Oh, you're so right. You're so right. This is the answer they all give. You know what? All these spiritual people, it's the same thing. They're like, Greg, you are a spiritual person and you're just on the edge of it and you need to go all the way in. They're like, you are, look at you. You're so interested in this stuff and you're using the rational mind to push away. But really you are you're so close, man. You're so close to seeing these things that we see. And that's sort of the overwhelming message I keep getting from people that I interview. And for you to echo that is, it's telling.
I mean, I just feel like stop being the reporter from the edge of the world. Just jump off the cliff. That's it. And trust that you'll come back and then you're going to be able to tell the story first person. Okay. So no more reportage. You're the lead. You're the leading actor.
Wow. You tied it together. Transforma Theaters. Tjasa Ferme. Shaman woman, New York City. She's leading retreats, ladies and gentlemen. She's doing shamanic drumming in Penn Station right out of work.
No, she's not. She's doing it in the park. She's got the Art of Lucid Dreaming intro and introduction, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard this Thursday, October 8th. And I imagine if you can't make this one, you're going to be doing a lot more of these. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. Just follow me on Shaman Woman NYC on Facebook, or contact me somewhere, somehow. I don't know, Instagram, and I'll put you on the mailing list. That's the most consistent way of telling people what I'm up to. But there's something coming up every week, and it's usually Saturdays, 6 to 10, or now that it's getting dark and chillier, we might start a little bit early. But if you want to plug in, that's your time. Yeah.
Wow. Do you have to social distance when you're interacting on the astral plane?
No.
Wow. No masks either. You heard it here, folks. Tjasa, for me, thank you so much for coming on Open Loops. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. This was such a fun time and such joy connecting and talking to you. You're brilliant. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Anytime. Wow. Stop the live stream. That was great.
Tjasa Ferme. What a force. Did she win your vote? Did she win it? Do you think she's the New York City Shaman? Well, certainly has a good case. She has a good case. I buy it. I'm very curious to do retreats with her when I go back in the city. I'd love to experience what that is. I'm glad that she doesn't, I mean, so many other people that call themselves quote unquote shamans are offering me drugs in the park. I mean, if you want to have a shamanic experience with tons of cocaine, you definitely could. It's not the same thing. I hope you enjoyed her. She was awesome. Definitely hope to have her back. So much fun. Tjasa Ferme, thank you for coming on the show. Thank all of you for listening. May you all have sweet, delicious, lucid dreams for the rest of your days. Take care, everybody.